Good day to all the beings, nature, and everywhere, anywhere in the world. Welcome to Mama Africa show for Africans in the diaspora, USA, Europe, Asia, even in Antarctica. We bring something more beautiful, inspiring conversations talking about our strive, our thrive, and our hustle in the diaspora. Our goal is to build, reignite, rejuvenate, and of course celebrate each other in the diaspora. My name is Anna Mwalago, aka Mama Africa, and I'm happy, so blessed to be alive and on the mic with you today. It's my culture. As I speak, rhymes flow into my mind, and as I blaze the stage, I hope you will relate and comprehend my linguistic phrases as I speak your dialectic phrases and use my accentual tongue to bless thee with words of wisdom. I am a victim of discrimination. No, not because I'm black, and sure enough I ain't white, but because good evening again, and I'm so happy to be here. Today we have a show that is as hot as fire. We have our lovely guest here, Soni Njau, Miss Soni Njau, all the way from Kenya and now living in the diaspora here in the United States. And of course, she's going to have some amazing stuff to tell us. I cannot really wait to introduce her and to talk about our men. That's all about today. We're talking about men impacting change. Also, we in our program today, of course, we are going to talk about the world news. And Lord have mercy, there is crazy stuff going on. I can't even try to speak, but you know what? We are here for it, as they say. And of course, our mother tongue section. Sonny, you have to have some words for me. You know, you got to have some proverbs for me.
I have something for you.
Yes, you're gonna give it to me later. And of course, we are going to discuss more and tell us about, our languages, celebrating our mother tongue. Therefore, we speak in our mother tongue as we share our proverbs. And of course, without much further ado, let me go to our news in the world. All right, here. Oh, what can I say? Let me tell you guys, something is going on in Kenya. The political temperature is high. It's at I think 103, if there's something like that. I like politics and I follow it, especially being from Kenya. And right now, there was that marriage of convenience between the President Ruto and his deputy Rigathi Gachagua. And now that marriage is they are about to go their separate ways. And actually, the people in that party are divided, and some of them want to impeach the vice president, or is it the deputy president? That's how we say it. So I've been following. I think this is crazy. I don't know what you have to say about that, Sonia. Do you like politics?
I mean, politics is around us. You can't avoid politics.
Yes.
So just watching, observing, and see how it will turn out.
Yes, how where the chips fall.
Right.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, for me, all I can say is that I know for right now where we are in politics is part of our lives. We cannot deal with that. We cannot stay without talking about politics, or even seeing it. We have politicians, and the thing is, the way they meddle and mess with our lives is what disgusts me. So you get into a marriage of convenience because you both want to be elected, and then in the middle of it you realize, we can't get along, because in Swahili, you know what they say, fahari wawili hawakai zizi moja. And that is the problem, that these two are alpha male, as they say, so they can really not work together. And then of course there's so much going on, talking about some people want to eat, so one side wants to eat more than the other, and so there is now that all this confusion, all this the deputy president was on Citizen being interviewed and talking about he's been kicked out of the WhatsApp group. I said, hey, I didn't even know we can talk about something like that. But it's not trivial. It's the fact that these things are going down, and even if you're a politician, there's a Swahili word, I think is another, we can call it a saying, say, siasa usieke kwa lungs, usieke kwa lungs, But sometimes you have to put it in there, and now you see the deputy president is upset, and and of course not only is he upset, but the other camp, which is his own camp, has now decided to trying to impeach him. So a lot going on in Kenya. I can't wait. I cannot wait to see how everything falls or how things change.
And that's why it's so important to vote.
Yes.
Exercise your right
as
a
goodness.
citizen and vote.
And you said the right thing, but don't just vote out of, I call them ethnic or tribal lines. Do not do that. Go and read their manifesto.
Right.
Check out what these people have been doing for the past 10, 15 years, Talk to your people, Get a civil education, because we end a civic education. We end up doing things because, especially in many African countries, because huyu ni mtu wetu, this is our guy. But your guy can be full of you know what. So, what I can say is that do your research and do not vote according to tribal lines.
Absolutely.
Vote because you know this person will make an impact, just like you're saying.
Right.
Men impacting change.
Yes.
Yes. So when we go to our news, this one is sad, but yes, we are going to talk a little bit about P. Diddy. Oh my goodness. When I was growing up, as a child, we used to dance to those songs, There's even one day I was somewhere and I remember I said, na 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 na. Is it the one who sang that song? The more money we have, the more problems we get. And sure enough, he's in a lot of problems. Something we can't even laugh about. So let me just read. Sean Diddy Combs, a rapper and a music mogul, credited for helping to launch the careers of some of the biggest stars in recent years, was arrested by federal agents in New York on Monday after facing months of civil lawsuits accusing him of sex trafficking, sexual abuse, and rape. I mean, when I saw that video of what he was doing to Cassie, I was disgusted.
Yeah.
This man should have been put to jail long time ago. But it goes to say what money can do for you. But at the same time, I was thinking about it and I say, as young people who are coming up as musicians, this is what you show them, to tell them, listen, do not try to ape these people. Be authentic.
Right.
And not getting up there doesn't mean that you have not made it. If you are enjoying what you're doing as an artist, because sometimes we just want to make it, to be known, to be famous, but we don't know that it comes with a price.
Right.
And it comes with a price that sometimes it's ridiculous. It's almost like giving your heart to the devil.
That's true.
And you have to tell them it's not all that,
Yeah.
God gives us talents, and we can use our talents on a local level, on a regional level, or international level, as long as we are using them.
Yeah.
But the greed of us wanting to be known, to be famous, sometimes makes us get ourselves into trouble.
That is true.
Because there are a lot of young people who maybe, for example, like Casey herself, she didn't want that, she did not want to be abused. But sometimes you feel like, hey, I can trust this person, and then you find out that the person is a devil.
Right.
So we really need to make sure that we know our value before we even sign that contract.
And I would even say that it's very, very important to be surrounded by advisors.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because a lot of times, I would say, a lot of people that find themselves in positions of power,
yes,
they don't have a strong support system.
Oh, yes.
That is the thing.
Yes.
And as human beings, you will end up being corrupted by power.
Oh, my goodness.
Power, people are hungry.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And they always say, a human being, you have two sides of you. You can be, you can have, you have the wolf in you, right?
Yes.
And you have the sheep in you.
Yes.
And whichever comes out is what you feed.
Yes.
So you have to feed the right part of you as a human being.
Yes.
And the best way of doing that is being
Yes.
surrounded by the right support system,
That's
being surrounded
true.
by the right advisors.
Yes.
And knowing that the greater power
Yes.
brings more responsibility.
Yes.
You have to be responsible over people around you.
Yes.
Right? Because
Yes.
it only takes a second
Yes.
to destroy everything that you've worked so hard for.
Yes.
A second.
Yes.
Yeah.
And not only that, is another thing is that these artists or these big, celebrities or people who are so powerful because of money or with fame, they fail to realize that what goes on in the dark shall come to the light.
Right.
The Bible does not lie. The Bible does not lie at all. What you do in the dark will come out to the light. It will
Right.
take 20 years,
Yeah.
may take 15 years,
Yeah.
may take 5 years. We always say, tunasemaje kwa Kiswahili, siku za mwizi ni ngapi? 40, eh?
Yeah.
And then even there is another saying, I think it's from Niger people, one day for the what and the one day for the I don't know, for the thief and the other. I
Right.
cannot even remember.
Yeah.
But saying that, at some point, your bad deeds will catch up with you.
They will catch up
They
with
will
you.
catch up with you.
And let me say, I have to give kudos to Cassie
Yes.
for coming out.
Yes.
Because I know the strength it must have taken her.
Yes, yes.
And even for her to be hard, because unfortunately the society, the first thing that they do is they don't believe women.
No.
They don't. They do
Yes,
not.
yes.
But I'm just so proud and kudos for her.
Yes.
For having the bravery and the courage
Yes.
to speak up.
Yes.
And because of her, so many other women are going have the strength
to
to
speak,
get out
yes.
from such toxic environments.
Exactly. And that is what we want to continue, because that's
Right.
what's the most important thing. We want us to make sure that we, as you said, surround ourselves with the right people.
Absolutely.
And the people we have
Yeah.
should be the people who can tell us our truth, no matter what.
Right.
So that we do not make the mistakes that we
So
are
we're not
making.
corrupted.
Yes.
So we're not corrupted, right?
Yes,
And
yes.
someone like Didi is what is called toxic masculinity.
Oh my goodness. Talk
Toxic
about it.
masculinity, right?
Yes, uh-huh.
And that's why Men Impact Change, we always advocate for positive masculinity.
Yes.
Right?
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
We have so much to talk
We
about.
have so much to talk
yes.
about.
So without much further ado, we are going to take our first break, and this is Mama Africa Show. My guest today is Miss Sonny Njau. She's going to talk about all the men, and we have some men in the studios. Please get ready. Humphrey, I am calling unto you. You're going to take the hot seat and talk about men challenges coming up. In the list.
When you drive, let them why don't care, let them with smile life, let them what they say, let them what they do, let them what they say, let them talk, oh, let them talk. Well, I've come to let you know how I feel today. In my life of pleasing you, I've got to change today. See, I only have one life to live, one chance to make it. And life is not a rehearsal. How long can I be subjected to the court of public opinion? What I should wear and what not to wear. What makes me feel good and what makes me feel bad. Hey, if the shoe fits, I will wait. And if it sinks your boat, it might not sink mine. So guess what? Hey, yeah. Oh, let them talk. Oh, let them talk. Oh, let them talk. Oh, let them talk. In the morning, let them. When you sleep, let them. When you eat, let them. When you drive, let them. I don't care, let them. With my life, let them. What they say, let them. What they do, let them. What they say, let them talk. Oh, let them talk.
All right, and that was Let Them Talk, and my second CD, Hacky. And of course, you can find that on YouTube. Just type Let Them Talk, Anna Mwalago or Mama Africa Anna. And of course, it's also on Spotify. I'm also on Apple Music. And go to my website and support me by, going to Bandcamp and buy the CD there. Of course, order. They don't buy CDs no more. That's another story for another day. But yes, get the song. That was Let Them Talk. And of course, I'm so happy to be in the studio with none other than Sonny Njau. Let me read a little bit your bio before we start this conversation. Miss Sonny Njau is the founder and CEO of Men Impact Change, MIC, an organization she founded in 2014 whose mission is to transform our males through entrepreneurship, training, exposure to professional networks, positive masculinity, and connection to mentors. Inspired by Frederick Douglass' quote, she believes that it is easier to build a boy than repair a broken man. Let me say that again. It is easier to build a boy than repair a broken man. She aims to use the MIC platform to bridge the economic gap through entrepreneurship, education, while building a capable men and leaders of the next generation. Sonny founded MIC in her apartment in 2014. Her stellar leadership has propelled MIC to be a global recognized movement honoring African legends like Professor Ngugi wa Thiong'o, civil rights advocate the late Congressman Elijah E. Cummings, Shark Tank alumni Mosiah Mo Bridges, Morgan State President Dr. David Kwabena Wilson, along with 103 other minority men of impact while impacting the lives of over 1,000 young men. Welcome, Ms. Sonny Njau.
Thank you. It's such an honor being here.
Oh,
and more
yes.
than anything else, being here with you.
Oh.
Because we met at Swahili Village.
Yes.
And I saw you from a distance. And I
Yes.
said, I really admire and I'm inspired by Anna Molago. And I
Oh.
kept hoping that you were going to look in my direction, of which you finally did. And we had a great conversation. So it's such an honor being here. And I really, truly appreciate you for the work that you're doing, highlighting our people, right?
Yes.
Uplifting our people.
Yes,
So I
yes.
truly honor you.
Man, same here, Sonny.
Thank you,
Really,
thank
same
you.
here. I honor you. I thank you for coming here.
Yeah.
And you inspire me in so many ways.
Oh.
Yeah, because
Uh-huh.
for a woman to decide, I am not going to start a woman's organization,
Right.
but this will be for men.
Yeah.
You know, that is deep. That itself is saying that you saw a gap that needed to be filled.
Yep.
So I'm just going to start by asking you some, as we build in our conversation,
Yeah.
where were you born?
I was born in Kenya.
Uh-huh.
I was born in Jericho.
Ah.
But I grew up in Waithaka.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
So when mtoto wa
Dagoretti.
Jerry, when mtoto wa Jericho,
Yeah. And
So-
then I grew up in Dagoretti in Waithaka.
Okay.
Dagoretti.
Uh-huh.
That's I have so many memories there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And so did you do your high school and college in Kenya before coming here?
I did my high school in Kenya
Uh-huh.
and my college here.
So when
Yeah.
did you arrive, as we say?
Yeah.
When did you jet in, if I may say?
In 2008.
Oh, wow.
Yes, 2008.
You're still a baby. You are how many years old, right?
Oh, I feel like I've been here forever, you know?
No. You are young. You are like 6 plus another 8. That's 8. That's how many? 14 years. You are still You are just getting into
You're
study.
just getting started. huh?
Yes. And so when you got here, did you go to any university? Did you study, or what was your journey here?
Yes. So I went to University of Central Missouri.
Uh-huh.
And then I transferred to University of Maryland Global Campus.
Uh-huh.
UMGC.
Yes.
And I also did a program on leadership on at Yale School of Management, executive education as well.
Oh, that's very good.
Yep.
So like, I always ask people when they come, especially because this show is for our immigrant brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
What was your culture shock when you got here?
Woo. So my culture shock was winter. I came in the middle of winter in January.
Ooh-wee.
And oh my goodness. Now, Missouri, the winter here in Maryland is not as bad as Missouri.
Yes.
It was
Cold.
really cold. The snow was up to, I was a very short,
Yes.
young person at that
Yeah.
point.
Uh-huh.
And I remember the first time I walked out, the snow was like up to my hip.
Oh, wow.
It was such a culture shock. And I was not appropriately dressed.
Uh-huh.
And so I had blisters all over my face, my ears. It was bad.
Oh, that's when you start singing Narudi Nyumbani.
That's when I started saying, oh my goodness, is this place for me?
Wow. Yeah. That
Yeah.
was, because
Yeah.
a lot of people, it's the winter that one of the things that's like Allah.
Yeah.
Because you see the one that when you're back in Kenya, maybe you see the Christmas winter. You're like,
You
oh,
see it's so beautiful. Yeah,
Yes.
and you want to play with the snow.
Yes.
I mean, but it's beautiful. Only
Yes.
when you're watching it from a distance.
That's
okay?
what I'm saying. You watch like this, you're like, oh, that's so nice. I
Right.
would love to go to
Yeah.
America and just, experience winter.
Yeah.
Then when you get here, you realize It's not your cup of tea.
And talk about
Uh-huh.
the showering you have to do while driving.
Yes.
And people can drive during winter.
Oh, they can.
That's something else.
Yes,
You know?
yes.
So just being very careful on the roads.
yes.
Thankfully now a lot of people can work from home when it's
Yes, uh-huh,
snowing.
yeah,
So that was a very, very big culture shock.
It's
I've never forgotten that at
Yeah,
all.
there's a friend of mine who said that when he came here, it was so cold, and then he went to a 7-Eleven and it's so antifreeze. And he was about to swallow the thing. Then he was
Wow.
like, no, this is for cars.
Right,
Yes.
right, yeah.
I mean, but you want to do anything out there
Yeah.
to make you survive.
Right.
I mean, I personally also do not like the cold. So winter time,
Yeah.
you had to, people don't understand, but we had to have special shoes for winter.
Yeah,
There are
absolutely.
winter shoes.
Right.
Especially right now, Maryland has have such mild snows.
Yeah.
But I believe in the early 2000s, we
Yeah.
used to have very bad snow.
That's
You had to
true.
have your shoes, hizi zile ukivaa,
Yeah.
maji yaingii ndani.
Right.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. So
yeah.
that's interesting. For me, I don't know. My culture shock, I always tell people it was the chicken. And I know a lot of people have had this story when I tell it. But when you go to when I came from Kenya those days, do you know this restaurant called Kenchik? Used to be small over there town.
Right, yes.
Yes. And that time you are taking a matatu because you can't, many of us don't drive back home those
Yeah,
days.
yeah.
So I'm just passing there, I don't know. And anytime you just pass there, the smell hits you, man.
Right.
And then you just see this chicken through the glass window just going around, and you can stay there 5 minutes just staring. My friend, I want to eat this.
Yeah.
So when I came to America, and I was like, the day I discovered Popeyes, it was heaven. Because chicken is cheap.
Right.
And then I got the money.
Yeah.
Every Friday
Yeah.
I was there just eating that chicken. I was
Right.
like, I cannot believe chicken is so cheap
Yeah.
and so big.
Right.
Hey, anyway, this is Sam. I know we can talk about chicken the whole time, but anyway, I wanted to know I have questions for you. And my
Okay.
first question, I want to know why men impact change. Why did you choose men instead of women impact change?
That's a question that I know a lot of people have in their minds.
Yes.
And so it's a compilation of different factors. But I love researching by nature. If I'm curious about something, I
Yeah.
just go on Google, and thankfully now we have ChatGPT. You
Yes.
just go on to ChatGPT and ask questions.
Yeah.
So I was very curious back in 2014 when there was some violence happening in Kenya. If you remember, women were
Yes.
being violated in the
Yes.
streets.
My body, my...
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was just curious. I went online and I said, what leads to men, being violent?
Yes.
And I found myself in a rabbit hole of articles and abstract scientific articles that were discussing the psychology behind it.
Yes.
And I was very intrigued, and I found out that, a lot of times our men, they grow up in broken homes.
Yes,
They
yes.
grow up in an environment where their fathers were also abusive.
Yes,
Or their fathers were alcoholic, or their
Yes,
fathers were, absentees. And unfortunately, that cycle passes on from one generation to another.
Yes.
And in the process of my research, I came across a quote that the original quote was by was saying it's easier to raise children
Yes.
than repair broken, something along those lines. And
yes.
I translated that and I said, wow, you know what? It's easier to build a boy than repair a broken man.
Yes.
And so from there on, that was like the it.
Yes.
And I said, wow, you know what we need to do is to find a way to build our boys.
Yes.
And of course, I came across articles of men of color in America, particularly black men.
Yes.
And the disadvantaged the system,
Yes.
that faces them,
Yes.
And I just wanted to do something about it. So it all started with identifying successful men, because I was also curious, how are these men successful? I'm
Yes.
really curious to find out
Yeah.
what led them to be this successful. And so I would have interviews back in the day on Facebook Live, and I would just kind of like get to try and get to know what path they, their background. Did they have a mentor? Did they have a father figure? And a lot of those men, there was something that was very common. most of them did not have father figures, or they
Yes.
had absentee fathers.
Yes.
But somewhere along the line in their life, they encountered a positive role model that made them shift their mindset and made them shift their life. And that's when I said, wow, what we need to do is to highlight these men so that they can be a great example for the younger generation.
Yes.
And that's how it started. So it first started, like I say, the concept, I shared it in 2014 in my living room with a
Yes.
handful of people.
Yes.
If you go on my Facebook, on my covers, you'll
Yes.
see, and if you go back, you will see
Yes.
that image in my living room. It was just about 7 people. And then from there, Facebook Lives, and people started demanding and saying, we want this can you have an event? Can you have an event? And so at that point, I decided, you know what, let's do something. And so it started as a passion project. I did not set out to start an organization at all.
Yes.
It just started as something that I just wanted to make a difference in our men.
Yes.
I felt like if we can support our men, it means, and they are the foundation of our families,
Yes.
the foundation of our community.
Yes.
If we support them, if we empower them, then many children will grow up with father figures, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
also we will support them so they can also love themselves and just have a better lifestyle as well, or
it's-
quality of life, if I can say that.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you talk about the events of Kenya.
Yeah.
About the women being
Yeah.
subjugated to abuse because of how they are dressing by men.
Yeah.
That led you to think about this organization
Right.
here in the US.
Yeah.
So I have 2 questions. Did you think about taking this organization to Kenya? And that's one. And secondly, do you agree with me that there is a difference between the men raised or men who are in Kenya and men in America?
So to answer your first question,
Yes.
we actually have workshops that happen in Kenya.
Okay, that's
If
good.
you Google Men Impact Change Daily Nation, you will see we have been featured on the Daily Nation a couple of
that's good.
times.
Yes.
So we do have small scale events
Yes.
in Kenya. Our vision is to ultimately get the honor ceremony itself to Kenya.
Okay.
So that's the vision.
Okay.
The other question about the differences between the men here and the men in Kenya.
Yeah,
So
through culture, privileges, and so many things. Go ahead.
there is a difference in terms of the challenges that they face. Obviously,
Yes,
the challenges that men in Kenya face are very different from the
Yes.
challenges that men in America,
Yes.
men of color in America face.
Yes.
I believe, from my research, the men in America, there's a lot of disadvantages that they face.
Yes.
When it comes to incarceration, when you look at it, the systematic issues that
Yes.
have affected men of color, black men for generations.
Yes.
It's heartbreaking, if I can
Yes.
say that.
Yeah,
It's heartbreaking. And also from my encounters with the men that we've honored, the men that we've been interviewed or worked with,
Yes.
you hear their stories and your heart breaks. Your
Yes.
heart breaks.
Yeah.
For example, there is a documentary on Netflix called When They See Us,
Yes.
by Ava DuVernay, about
Yeah.
the 5 boys that were just playing, the 5 black boys that were just playing at the Central Park in New York.
Yes. Yes.
And they were falsely accused and they were incarcerated. Thankfully,
Yeah.
now they're out. They were
Yeah.
exonerated.
Yes.
But those were years lost.
Yes.
And one of our partners as well was falsely incarcerated for 40 years over something he did not commit.
Yeah.
Mr. Walter Mandela Lomax,
Yeah.
a very good friend of mine. We honored him back in 2020. And so it just makes my heart break.
Yes.
To see what our men go through,
Especially in America.
especially in America,
Because
very
that's
devastating.
that's the thing
Yeah.
that I one of the things that really was an eye opener for me when I studied, of course, when I lived, been living here now for over 20 years.
Yeah.
It was the differences, when men in Kenya are held in so much esteem, high esteem.
Yeah.
There are so many privileges for men
Yeah.
in not only Kenya but in African countries, you
Right,
know.
yeah.
They're the, they even say with the heads of
Yeah.
the house, you know.
Yeah.
And definitely, Humphrey, you're going to come to this conversation right now.
He needs to
Yes,
be. I don't
so
even know
Humphrey,
why he's sitting on that corner.
Welcome. Can we bring Humphrey here, Mr.
Humphrey.
Bandio? We are welcome. We have our friend here, Humphrey Muturi, and Humphrey Muturi is joining us because we cannot be discussing about men, and men are sitting right there and not talking. So Humphrey, asante, karibu sana.
And he's been a great support for Men Impact Change over the years as well. So, yeah.
So, but I was saying before, and then I'll let Humphrey speak, because I was saying that, when I came here, I was like, wow, the men in Kenya, you hear so much stories about abuse, you
Right,
know,
yeah.
the men are abusing their wives, not all, but some, you know, infidelity. There are so many things, okay? And then also our culture, we were brought up seeing many of our parents, especially mothers, being caretakers and fathers going to work.
Yeah.
And now things started, of course, changing. But then you come to America and even women, we know that, you understand, that our men here in America don't have as much privilege as our men back in Africa.
Yep.
And so if there is a dispute at home, when a police comes, it is the man who has to leave the house, because a woman has to stay. That's in America, you know.
Oh, in America,
yeah.
yes,
In Kenya, there's nothing like that. Matter of fact, if the police comes, the woman might have to leave, you know. And so there's that. And then, also, of course, the aspect of they do not get the privileges of, getting good jobs, you know. So at this point, even in the economic scale, is the women who are having better jobs than the men here in America.
Yeah.
So you can see there's such a big difference, the disparity gap in terms of the culture, in terms of our way of life, in terms of the privileges. Men in America, our men in America are really at a loss. And for me, I became like you. I was just championing for the men.
Right.
As a professor right now,
Yeah.
I push my male students because I'm like, listen, the cards are against you, man. So you have to do your best.
Right.
I try to push them. I try to tell them, you gotta, you know what's ahead. So I just want Humphrey to really touch on what we just talked about briefly, because I think it is so important for you to tell us, are we speaking the truth when it comes to our men in Kenya or in Africa and here in the United States of America? And welcome. This is my buddy, my friend. His show is coming up next. That's why he's here. But we have kidnapped him, if I may use that word, hijacked him, taken him, and used it. Go ahead, Humphrey.
Are you ready for this conversation?
Yes.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Because sometimes trouble, wahenga walinena kikulacho kingoni mwako. So sometimes some of the troubles and problems you get are from who? Our sisters.
That is true.
It is very true.
Yes.
And it's also taking advantage of, I'm not, okay. The narrative that usually is out there is that you have to be very careful, because we know that women will take advantage of the laws here. Women will, if they want to make you suffer, it's as simple as making a phone call.
Yes, that's true. Yes, call the popo.
It's as simple as tukikosana if we are not in agreement, we've got kids.
Yes.
Child support.
Yes.
So you're going to find a lot of guys, decide, what, I'm gonna go work a minimum paying job, minimum wage.
So is it real quick? Is it that the fact that the women are taking advantage, or is it that the fact that the law is protecting the women more than the men, and so we not be taking
it's
advantage?
Both.
Yeah.
So it's actually the law protecting and then taking advantage of that. So like if you look at sports,
yes,
like football, is it basketball? I'll give an example of basketball.
Yes.
There are certain fouls that happen. All I have to do is I have to juke somebody.
Yes.
When you jump, then I jump. I initiate contact, and I get, a foul is called.
A foul is called. Yes.
So I get points.
Points, yeah.
That's what you ladies do.
Oh,
that's what you get. You
I
ladies
really
do.
like the way you have used that.
Right? I mean, like, or even soccer. All I have to do is I have to pretend that, like I'm going. If you come behind me and then you just. Then I'll throw myself down.
Yes.
A free kick.
Yes. But you see, the thing is, yes, and as a woman, I can say it takes two to tango.
Right.
You understand?
It takes two to tango.
Yes. So if even if I initiate and you don't fall for it, you good. But sometimes our men, they fall for it, you understand? But not only that, but now let's turn it around. In Kenya, a woman initiates that. What happens?
So in Kenya, when a woman does initiate that, I think there are structures already set. Now it depends. Let me say this: if it's traditional, if there's a traditional and cultural aspect of stuff
Yes.
that can regulate and can guide.
Okay.
So let's say, for example, me and Sonia married.
Yes.
Traditionally, her being Kikuyu, me being Kikuyu.
Yes.
If I have a problem,
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna call the in-laws.
Yes.
I'm gonna report to the in-laws, and I'm
Yeah.
like, this one,
Uh-huh.
kuje mchukue huyu.
But you see, even the way you are saying this one, no respect.
That's what I'm
there.
saying. No.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huyu.
Uh-huh.
I mean, that's what it's
Yes.
gotten there.
Yes.
Huyu
Uh-huh.
ananikosea heshima.
Yes.
Anipiki.
Yes.
Hafanyi hivi.
Aha.
Ninatoka huko nang'ang'ana nataenda kutafuta ganji.
Uh-huh.
Oh, sorry. I'm going to look for money.
Yeah.
All right. When I come home,
Yes.
I'm coming home to a cold meal, a cold bed.
Yes.
At some point, I'm like, okay, what am I doing all this for?
Yes.
What am I struggling this for?
Yes.
There are guides, there are certain structures. And then what's going to happen also is on her part, probably her people, her family will, her aunties will sit her down and say, I'll say this in
Leke.
Kikuyu, Leke, what
Yes.
you, what is it? What is wrong?
Yes. Uh-huh.
But there are certain structures.
Yes.
But yes, the system is broken because on
Where
both
is this?
sides,
Yes,
on
yeah,
both sides,
the
on both
system is
sides. And I
broken.
think,
Yes,
I think I'm gonna say us, this generation, us.
Uh-huh.
I was telling a friend the other day that, our parents, when we were born in the city.
Yes.
We were not born up country. Even if we were born up country,
Uh-huh.
our parents made it their mission life to make sure that we don't go through what they went through.
That is true. That's why the women were educated.
So,
Yes.
in one aspect, that is good.
Uh-huh.
But you shielded us. We got shielded away from some real life experiences that would have benefited us.
Yes.
For example, if you watch how the community handled stuff, like now Kenda Ushago, if you go up country and you see how things are done,
Yes.
the men their responsibility is designated.
Yes. And the women.
The women's responsibility is designated,
Yes.
and it functions.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That structure functioned.
Yes. Yes, but you see, you can't
Then
use that
no,
structure now.
but you
Yes.
see, you cannot use. But again, I know times have changed.
Yes.
But the structure functioned, meaning that you do what you do. You're a teacher.
Yes.
If you're a teacher, you're a teacher. Me, if I'm a coach, I'm a coach. But we are
Yes.
both teachers,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
I cannot come and
to
start
my
telling you,
class.
and start telling you about mathematics.
Yes.
Neither can you come and start telling me about
Coaching
whatever.
football. Yeah.
But what you can talk about
Yes.
is probably certain core principles of, let's say, discipline,
Yes.
determination.
Uh-huh.
Trying to
Yes.
have kids. Trying to create, because all you're doing, you're molding minds.
Yes. You see, the thing is this. I agree with you about structures during even prior to even our fathers and mothers. There were structures that were really good, especially pre-colonial, early colonial. But now you're living in the capitalist system. You're living in a modern system whereby the woman also has to go to work, because at the end of the day is you have to bring bread to feed the children. You have to take care of your, what do you call it, your expenses and everything. So even in life, even right now, you now make what we call microstructures within your family. You can decide, you and your husband, this is what we are going to do. You are in charge of this, I'm in charge of this. And those things are important. So we're not saying that structures are not there, but we have, our structures have changed. They have metamorphosized, if I may say, to the modern times. Therefore, there is no problem with structures if we are both in agreement about those structures. The issue becomes now when those structures we are not in agreement with one another. The other one wants this, the other one wants that. And then think about this in America, whereby it is a do-it-yourself society, while back in many African countries we have our house girls or domestic who help with the cooking and the cleaning. Things start becoming very interesting. And that's why you hear that men who come from Africa or African countries, and especially those who had been doing well life in Kenya or whatever professional, they can't really adapt as fast as women here when we move as immigrants. I think it's because there are structures that are now here in the US are hard for them to deal with. Am I right or wrong to saying that? Yes, Miss Sonny.
I agree with him when you say that the structures back in the day, they worked and they worked perfectly.
Yeah.
I completely agree. In addition to that, what I can say is, for example, if you're driving a car,
Yes.
right? It needs oil change.
Yeah.
It needs maintenance, right?
Yes.
You can't drive the car for years without maintenance. It's going to crash on you.
Yes.
That is the same thing in relationships. There needs to be check-ins.
Yes.
Hey, and clear communication. And having our own structures, like
Yes.
our own customized
Yes.
structure that
Yes.
would work just for
For
that
us.
relationship,
Yes.
depending on the responsibilities and the season that the people are in. What I find in most situations and most relationships, people have perceived notions of what is expected in a relationship without really having clear communication.
Yes.
They don't sit down and say, okay, this is what I would expect, or this is how I want to be loved. People don't even know their love languages.
Yes.
That's another thing.
Oh, that's very true.
That is so
Yes.
true.
Yes.
Especially,
Let me ask you.
Like Humphrey, your love language could be touch. Mine could be
Yeah.
watching movies.
Like,
I'm
There's
curious.
different-
if I may finish my thought
No, go ahead.
process
Yes.
Yes.
before it disappears.
Yes.
People don't have people have not worked on their self-awareness, and
Yes.
I mean both sides,
Uh-huh.
both male and female.
Yes.
They have not really worked on self-awareness enough. They don't even know themselves, and they expect someone else to know them. If you don't know yourself, if you have not taken time to really know yourself, know how you like to be loved,
Yes.
how you like to be handled,
Yes.
how you want to, your significant other to communicate to you,
Yes.
how will that the other person know?
Yes.
And I believe that is one cause of issues.
Issues.
Yes.
They had
That-
divorces.
divorces and
had
breakups.
disagreement,
Yeah.
abuse, and so many other
Yeah.
things. Yes.
To your point, let me ask this. Yeah. If you get some time,
Okay.
go and ask your grandmother what your grandfather's love language was. You also do the same. Come back with a report.
Now, if
That is one.
That is
Now,
one. Okay.
remember,
Uh-huh.
remember people are evolving, right?
Yes.
If you're evolving as a human being, then your level of self-awareness needs to be
Auto-
deeper.
yes.
Back in the day, they had self-awareness in terms of they knew my husband food has to be on the table.
Yes.
I have to do this. I have to do that. The man knew I have to protect the family.
Yes.
It was clearly communicated.
Yes.
Right?
It's
So-
more. It's not even communicated. It was the structure that
It
was
was the
already
structure
there.
there.
Yes,
It was
yes.
already there.
Structure was
There's
already
a-
there.
And it worked
there
in
was a
those
strong
times.
foundation.
Because if you're a boy born, you know, okay, it's already predetermined that there's a certain path you're going to take.
Yes.
If you're a girl, you're born, there's a predetermined path because of the structure that had been set up. If you're a
Yes.
boy, if you're in the Maasai community, you're going to be a pastoralist.
Yeah.
You're going to be, if you're in the agrarian system, you'll go and farm and everything. You're going to
Yes.
go hunt. You're going to do that. That is already designated for you. As a woman, you're going to be told, take care of the compound. You're going to do this. You're going to cook. But the guys are going to go. They're going to go out and bring. They're going to go out hunt, bring out the game meat
Yes.
and whatever. They're going to build the structures. They're going to make sure that the village or the conclave or whatever it is protected. Already structures were there.
Yes.
I agree.
It was predefined. It was
Yeah.
already there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where the problem came is when I believe that when the transition from the rural areas, there was migration to the
Urban.
area.
Yes.
Instruction on structure broke down.
Of course, because now things are changing.
Of course,
Even
no.
the economy is changing.
It does.
Yes.
It broke down.
Yeah.
And it broke down on both sides.
Yes.
It is hard for someone to expect a guy to know about love languages, yet he was never taught
Love
on,
languages.
or learned or instructed on anything about even defining what love language is.
Okay.
Those things are being learned on Mills and Boons and the movies that we used to see over there at night at 11
Yes.
o'clock
Okay.
and reading books and whatever.
Yeah.
But at home, your uncles or maybe your father are not really. I don't know about the ladies. But I know as for guys, there's no structure.
Yeah.
What's happening is we are quickly adopting the Western culture
Culture.
of romance.
Yes, we can.
That's what we are doing on the fly.
That is true when when you talk about maybe
it's
the
Western.
issues. Yes, maybe the issues as you're saying of love languages. But forget. Okay, love languages is one part. But talk about now the adaptation. We are evolving as human beings. We are evolving as men and women from the time of culturalism or agriculturalism to now we are in the capitalist society where both of us have to work, man and woman, husband and wife. We have to take care of the home. It's not only a man's responsibility.
Yes.
Things have to change there. They change even automatically. So how do we support that and keep a peaceful home? That's an issue there.
We have to start learning how to the structures that you talked about, that we agreed upon.
Yes.
The structures have to be set up in such a way that as you come in, if you're a girl or if you're a boy, and these days, there are very many changes.
That's
so you have to adjust. You have to adjust.
Yes.
I think you're talking about your guy who went. He was and he saw antifreeze and he was going to drink it.
Yes.
You know, in my mind, what I was thinking.
Yes.
Maybe he was trying to identify as a car. I want to get that out there. But structures have to be defined. People have to communicate. You have to. We have to get comfortable to the level where we have to adjust. Yes, it's not back in the day where we had farms, acres and acres of farms. We could have so many kids.
Yes.
And our workforce was us and our children. That has changed. If we are going to go with these relationships, we definitely have to have the conversation. But here's another thing.
Yes.
Guys are the ones who pursue. 98% of the time, guys are the ones who pursue the woman.
These days is 95. I mean, we have,
it has come down from 98 to 95.
Or is it probably even 75? Because we have what we call online dating. Who's pursuing who?
Well, I don't know. I think is it guys or women? Even
both.
women.
I don't know. Let's go ahead.
No. But for guys, here's the thing. I'll chalk up this to the guys. I think if you already know the type of whoever if you already know who you want, how you let that be known from jump.
Yeah, from the jump. That's true.
Don't try and change anybody. Let somebody conform to you.
Yes. That is very true.
If I meet you, I'm not going to start, I'm going to tell you, I'm not, sometimes the mistake we make is we ask, where do you see your 5 years?
Yes,
what do you like or whatever.
Yeah.
No, you should ask, what don't you like?
Yes.
What is a pet peeve? What turns you off?
What is your 10-year financial plan?
No. You don't even go there. You first find out the things that irritate you.
Yes.
If she lists the things or he lists the things that irritate, are you willing to work with that?
Yes, that's the thing.
If you can say, I can manage that, you will not come back and say that I told Soni she cannot wear blue. And then she's wearing blue. But I said, I knew if I don't like blue, but I said, blue is fine. But when she wears blue, now it irritates me to wear blue. You cannot do that.
Yes.
But these are the onset. There has to be clear communication, like you said. Because I think that's the genesis of everything. Because if you don't communicate, but you also have to be truthful
to each other.
Most important to yourself.
To yourself.
Yeah.
So that's the truth of the matter is, as Sonia and you have very well articulated, know thyself. You have to know what ticks, what don't you like, what you like, and then you have to have what you call these are the deal breakers.
Yeah.
That if this person does
irreducible minimums.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Irreducible minimums. Exactly. That I like that. So because if you don't have those things, things is you can easily muddy the waters, and when you start muddying the waters, that's when problems start coming in. And at the same time, put in mind that also a lot of people say people change. You understand? So be careful in terms of knowing that if this change comes along, can I work with that change? Because yes, I think sometimes when people use people change, I think that's just a cope up, cope up because they just saying you that because they're not feeling the relationship at this point. But what can help you is making sure you know that this is what I like, this is my pet peeve. This is my this is what you call my deal breakers, and then from then go ahead and pursue. But however, I also wanted to mention about this. Yes, we've talked about back in Kenya or in many African countries where, you know, long time ago you had the men coming home and there's food on the table, and now life has changed. Moreover, now you have moved from Kenya and you and your wife are immigrants here in America. Do you how willing are you to adapt? That's another thing that men who come here have an issue with, the adaptation, that you have to be willing to adapt, to say you can now have to cook, you have to change diapers, you have to do a lot of things. Yes, we have to help each other at some point.
I think it's very unfair. It's very unfair, Sonny. It's very unfair. A guy is 46.
Yes.
Let's say. 50s. This man probably is steeped in tradition.
Oh.
When I say steeped, like he knows from the time he got married, his kids or whatever, this has been the routine.
Yes.
And then when you move here, there's a change. Because now,
of course, yeah.
maybe the lady now probably has to, if you're 45, let's say, even 50, maybe you have to
even
work.
The lady has to get the job earlier than the man.
Yeah, of course. You know, like, because their chances are like now, most guys in their 40s and 50s who have they are used to maybe being, you know, running a business.
Yes. Being a white collar,
blue collar.
Blue collar. Okay.
Blue collar. Let's say blue collar.
Yes.
Right. Blue collar. You own a hardware store. You run a butchery, nyama choma, whatever. Yes. It's hard for you to come here, to be quite honest, and start doing nursing. CNA, changing diapers.
Yes.
It's gonna be a hard transition.
Very hard. Yeah.
Very, very hard. That is one. Two. The lady comes, it's easy for the lady to adjust.
Yes.
Because the lady has changed the kids' diapers, maybe some of her nieces and nephews, maybe her siblings.
Yes.
So being put in there, and chances are she takes care of her mother, your mother, a grandmother.
Yes.
So it's not hard for her to be now to get paid for that.
Yes.
It's going to be hard for him. He doesn't have a degree. So there's nothing he can say that I have a CPA, I have a degree in Bachelor of Science or whatever. Hana hiyo.
Yes.
Amezoea blue collar. So him he comes, chances are the jobs that he can probably get initially are maybe working in a store.
Yes.
And God forbid if he's saved, he's not going to work in a store that sells cigarettes because he's going to be against that. He'll be like, I bind that in the name of Jesus. Rebuke it. Higher. Or maybe work in a parking lot or whatever. The lady at some point, because you can pick up many shifts as a CNA.
Yes. Has moved up the ladder.
And then on top of that, she said, you know what, I'm going to go for LPN. Unaingia crash kwa sapa ya DC. Unachapa LPN 1 year. Mzee anajaribu kuadjust, kusurvive, nini.
Yes.
The challenge also comes if they're kids.
Yes.
That's another story.
Yes.
And if their kids are young.
Yes, and the kids are young.
If their kids are young. So now that is quadruple hammering.
Yes.
Anyway. So for him to adjust to start to want to do nursing is gonna be hard.
Yes.
It's gonna take him a while not only to adjust to get something that he can do. Back then it was a bit harder.
Yes.
Now it's a bit easier because now you find that there are guys who've started their own businesses. There are guys who are doing construction. There are guys who are doing mechanic. They're repairing cars. There are a lot of blue collar jobs that electrician, BG. There are those jobs that you can do. You can probably transition into that. But a while back, it was kind of hard.
Yes.
And then when you, as a lady, what happens most of the times is, you know, like, of course, there's nobody to cook. Because the ladies the lady has gone for a 3 to 11 shift.
Yes.
And probably has picked up another shift because bills are needed.
Yeah, the man
so 3 to 7.
Yes, so the man has to get into the kitchen.
Mzee ajai pika.
He has to learn.
The only time he cooked probably was when he was a bachelor. What could he cook? Ugali.
And
you know on what?
Yeah.
On zile stoves, the kerosene.
Two things.
Go ahead, son. Yes.
First of all, you're very right. As far as having that shock of like you were used to a certain type of lifestyle.
Yes.
And then you come and you have these expectations on you.
Yes.
So 2 things. One is support system. A lot of times the reason women like move very quickly, they have a support system around them.
Ah,
Yes.
deadly.
We have these groups,
Yes.
women groups.
But sometimes those
And-
support systems can be dangerous.
they can be dangerous,
yes,
but if you use them wisely, they will be very, very helpful,
Yes.
right? The other thing is exposure.
Yes.
There's nothing like exposure. You just talked about some careers that don't really need degrees, right?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Like the control tower. I just
yes.
found people that work there. They don't need a degree, but they earn like 200,000
Yes.
and above.
Yes.
A year. 200,000 dollars a year.
Yes.
So exposure also is something that is very, very important.
Important, yes.
Now with Men Impact Change, what we do, because
Yes,
we completely understand that as women, we are just we express ourselves.
Yes,
If you're going through something, I'll call you up. I
Yes.
don't have to know you for a long time. I'll call you up and let you know, wow, this is what I'm going through. In fact, I
Yes.
remember when I first came to America, I was one of my very, very someone that became a very close friend. I met at Walmart. We were in line, and I looked at her. I was like, she looks very, very African,
Yes.
East African.
Yes.
And I just struck a conversation.
Yes.
You are profiling.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
And one thing led to another, and she was working for JP Morgan, and within 2 weeks she connected me there, and I ended up working there for about 6 years.
Wow. Look at that.
Just from a short conversation
Yes, just from
at
just,
Walmart.
Yes.
Right?
Opening up.
So yes, so men are not naturally like they don't
Social.
naturally they
But
don't
you had a
want-
degree though, right? At JP Morgan.
No, I was in school.
You're in school.
Yes.
So there was a
yes.
connect.
Correct. Yes.
Okay, how old? I mean, you were like about 17, 18.
Yes.
Okay,
No.
Go ahead.
So the point that I'm trying
Yes,
to make
I get it, I
is,
get it,
and when we come back now to Men Impact Change
Yes.
and why it's so important,
Yeah.
our role is to facilitate and provide a platform where men can come in and they can, because once we have men in one room, right?
Yes.
And then you and I, we say, let's go
Yes.
give them that space.
Space, yeah.
They will start talking. They will
Yeah.
start collaborating. They'll
Yes.
start
Mhm.
sharing.
Yes.
Let me tell you, men can really talk.
Uh-huh.
They
Yes.
can really, if
so-
you let them,
Yes.
and if they feel safe,
Yes.
that's something else. If they feel safe and they feel like they will not be judged,
Yes.
they can really talk.
Yes.
And that's why Men Impact, a platform like Men Impact Change is so critical, so that these men that are coming from different environments or men that are dealing with crisis, they don't have to feel like
Yes.
they're weak when they talk about mental crisis or financial crisis, whatever crisis that they are encountering.
So I like the fact, because that was my next question to wrap up this conversation is how do you support? You talked about positive masculinity, and of course we have negative masculinity, right?
Correct.
We have also positive femininity,
Yeah.
and negative femininity,
I
right?
thought you said feminine
Yeah.
masculinity.
No, I
was
I
about to
take
say
that
Allah.
back. I
Yeah.
take that
No,
back.
don't take it back. It is there, I think. I don't know. Sorry.
So how do you support the positive masculinity to build it? You talked about now Men
Yeah.
Impact Change, where
Yeah.
you give men the platform to discuss,
Correct.
to open up,
Yeah.
to talk about life issues, to even connect and have networks and tell people, and start calling each other, bro, what's going on,
Yeah.
helping each other in whatever they need help with.
Yeah.
If it is getting a job, if it is dealing with a situation, even directing them to therapists and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What about the negative masculinity? How do you water that down? Because it's there. It's in Kenya. It's here.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that?
So there's a very I love quotes. There's a quote that says, "What you feed grows, and what you starve dies." What we do is feed positive work that is
Okay.
being done by men, and we do that by highlighting men that are contributing positively in the community.
Yes.
We spotlight them, we highlight them, we honor them. We share their stories over and over and over, because remember, the media already has been sharing negative stories.
Yes.
Amen to that.
Yes.
Negative stories of men
Yeah.
over and over and over and
yes,
over.
yes.
So we counterattack that by sharing positive stories over and over and over and over. So that is one of our strategies. The other one is the exposure that I was talking about.
Yes.
When you look at, and I know we'll talk about it, when you look at the 10th anniversary, or just the men that we've worked with along
Yes.
along all these years,
Yes.
these are men that you would not just find anywhere. There are men that we've had to work very hard and be in spaces
Okay.
that you know, our young men would not even have access or know how to access those
Them.
type of spaces.
Yes.
But we reach out to them and we you know, coordinate and we tell them, hey, come in, we want you to come in, share
Yes.
your story, come
Yes.
in and mentor and coach and come in and you know, just talk about your journey to success.
Yes.
And that's why I'm saying exposure. There's nothing like exposure.
But how do you help with, for example, men or young men or even older men who you've had that you know they were involved in maybe domestic violence, they were involved in drug abuse or something like that. But because I think that the society where we live with
Yeah.
is. When we see negative things, we run away from
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
But we don't understand that the more we run away, that doesn't help. It actually makes the problem even more. So we have to catch these young people at their young age
Yeah.
or the adult and say, listen, there is a better way. How do you do that as not only as a main impact change, but as anyone, Humphrey, as you? How do you catch those who are veering off the wrong side of the road?
Charity begins at home. You don't start this at 19. You start this at 8, 7, 6. That is where you start.
Yeah.
Like she said, it's easier to do what?
Build a boy than
Than-
repair a broken man.
And that's it. That is
Yeah.
where you start.
So
Yeah.
you want to say when they get to 40, you can't help them?
Wacha nikwambie, it is you and God.
I do not want to end at the air. It
No.
cannot end there. There is a better way.
It's going to be very difficult. Of course, there is hope. There's
Yes.
always hope.
There's always
Yes.
hope.
There's
Yes.
always
Always
It's just
hope. But like she said, it's the constant, even now, constantly feed positive vibes into your partner.
Yes.
Because men need that.
Yeah.
Just because
that's
because a guy is quiet, seated in the corner,
Yeah.
like now our producer Bandio somewhere,
Yeah.
always telling us wrap it up or whatever. Sometimes
Yes.
he just needs positive vibes.
Yes.
And let those come from your
Partner.
your partner,
Partner.
your ladies,
Yeah.
Yes.
those ones.
Yes.
Yes.
They positively inject that.
Yeah.
Wacha nikwambie,
And let me
like
tell
a
you
phoenix,
one,
you'll rise.
Ah,
one thing I
amen,
started
amen.
doing. Men in general, they don't get compliments. Women, we are
Yes.
used to getting compliments.
Oh, yes.
Look at you! I love
Yes.
your lipstick. I
Yes.
love your.
Yeah.
Men, they
Yes.
don't really get compliments.
Yes,
And one.
Bandio, that's a nice haircut.
Yes. Yeah. That's
So,
true. Yes, that's very true. Yeah.
I have made it a personal mission of mine.
Yes.
If I see, and especially young men, because men, you don't want to, as a
Yes.
woman,
Yes.
you don't want to. But young men in general, when I see something, I always make a point to mention it.
Yes.
Whether it's a waiter that has done, exceptionally well,
Yes.
or has a nice smile,
Yes.
or has a nice hair. The other day I went to a restaurant. There was this young man, a black young man, and he was hosting, and just his personality was
Yes.
just so warm.
That is
and
very
I
true.
told him,
Yeah.
I told him, you have a very nice personality. You
Yes.
just made my day.
Yes.
Thank you. And you could see.
You gave him 5 more years.
Yeah.
Yes.
So just compliment
Yes,
these
we
young
Yeah.
like
men.
that.
Just
Yeah.
compliment
We like
them.
that.
That is
Do
very
it.
that's very
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
It starts from home. Honey, I love your shirt. You look good. Oh,
Yeah.
how was work today? Man, yeah.
No, babe.
Yes, yes,
Here,
babe.
sit down.
Uh-huh.
Here is a plate, hot
Yeah.
food.
Yeah.
Then give him a massage.
Yes,
Mambo
yes.
kwisha.
So
Yeah.
many other things, but also let's not forget as we wind up, and I want you to talk about your event, where it's going to be, what
Yeah.
date, and everything.
Yep.
As we wind up, let's not forget that also men who have gone astray for in one way or the other, there are also ways to get them back. There's also if they have been involved in some form of drug abuse or alcoholism. There is is it AA or something? Is it called AA, Alcohol Anonymous?
Yeah. Alcohol
There-
Anonymous.
there's a
Alcoholics
lot of
Anonymous.
yes, there's
Yeah.
a lot of transitional homes that can take care.
Yeah.
So we are not saying that those who have gone off the rails can never be saved.
Yeah.
They definitely can.
They can.
There are
Yeah.
communities in terms of therapies, there are communal therapies, there are sports ways to get men who are veered off. Is through sports organizations that support men who are just transitioning from prison and so on. There are so many other things, and even what you're doing by highlighting men who are doing well and showing this to the young men is inspiring them.
Right.
So please keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
And before we go back, we are gonna come back with Mother Tongue. We're not done. Are we done? Oh, we are done today. So what we are going to do is we are going to talk about where can we know about your event that's coming up and tickets and all that, so that men and women can come support each other.
Absolutely. So Men Impact Change, we are so honored and honestly so proud that we've made this milestone that so many minority-led organizations don't make it.
Yes.
We are celebrating 10 years on October 12th. Yes. On October 12th.
Yes.
That's precisely 2 weeks from now.
Yes.
On a Saturday, at the Bethesda location. We will be at the Marriott headquarters in Bethesda.
Yes.
And we are highlighting very successful men, diverse men, African Americans, in various categories. We have a total of 16 that we are highlighting. Normally we don't do that many, but this year, because it's a 10th year, we had to do something special.
Yes.
And so we open it up to different men. If you can go to our website, menimpactchange.org, you will see the list of men we are highlighting.
Yes.
In addition to that, we are going to have a very important conversation, which is future-ready merging entrepreneurship with AI. And the reason we chose this is because AI is here to stay.
Yes.
AI is going to really change our life. It's already started transitioning our lives. And we don't want our people to be left behind. We want to equip you with a skill set, with a network that will support you as you're navigating this new life. And so we have two dynamic panels. One is composed of rising stars who are Gen Zs.
Yes.
So young men. There's one of our mentee. His name is Francis. He started Men Impact Change back when he was 13 years old.
Wow.
He attended Men Impact Change for the first time, and from there, he started wanting to become an entrepreneur. And he's only about 20 right now, and he's a real estate investor and a realtor. So he is on the panel along with other dynamic young panelists. We also have a second panel composed of Gen X's.
Yes.
So the older generation will also come in and also kind of share their experiences.
Yes.
But more than anything else, the reason we are having these types of conversation is so that we can make sure that these young men feel supported.
Yes.
They feel welcomed. They
Yes.
feel like there's that support system, right?
Give me a website so they can go and buy tickets and everything.
Yes. So the website is menimpactchange.org, and we actually have a very good discount right now. The tickets are going for so the early bird, which is closing very, very in a couple of days from now, is $250. However, we have a 50% off.
Okay.
Just because I'm here, right?
Yes, yes.
As a courtesy of your viewers.
Yes.
50% off.
50%,
If you purchase, if you purchase your ticket between now and Monday.
Yes.
Young professionals under 40. You're welcome to purchase it at $150 only.
Okay.
And again, it's a gala, so be ready. Come in with your gowns, tuxedos. We have a VIP rooftop. We have beautiful things that are lined up for you.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, Miss Soninjao, this has been amazing. I just want to wrap it up by saying a few things. Thank you for those who have been listening on YouTube. I have Eva over there say, nice conversation. My friend Eva said, ask your grandmother what your grandfather's love language is. That was very funny. She's taking that to heart. She is going to ask.
Go and ask.
Isaac says the conversation was going very well until what happened? Oh, Lord. And of course, Julie said very good conversation.
As a hater.
To forward to all the men in our families and friends And Esther said, hi, Sonny. And I just want to say you have been listening or
thank
watching
you,
to
thank
Mama
you.
Africa Show. And I want to thank you, Sonny Njao, for being here. And before I go, let me tell you how busy my weekend is going to be. Tomorrow afternoon, I'll be at the African Museum of Art. I'll be hosting, as they're having their community day there, I'll be hosting the spoken word from 2:15 to 3:15 at the Museum of African Art, 950 Independence Avenue. And then at night, I will be the MC at the Kings and Queens of Africa at the UDC. Please go to the website. I think it is Kings and Queens of Africa. Find it on Eventbrite. Use my promo code Anna and you get discount 50%. And then on Sunday I'll be at the Appeal. They're having their gala in DC and I'll be performing there. So guys, the weekend is busy. Please come. Check out my Instagrams, all social media. We have all the information there. Anna Mwala. Wait, I forgot even my social media handle. Mama Africa Anna on Instagram. Mama Africa Anna on Facebook. Mama Africa Anna, where else? On TikTok, and Anna Mwalago on LinkedIn. This has been amazing. Sonny, you have made this, you have made Humphrey sweat. He was sweating bullets just because he just wanted to defend the men.
Right.
And I appreciate him for coming. And the next show coming up, please listen to my friends. One mic, they are here.
And we need to have those
One
conversations
mic.
often.
The next show is one mic. Oh, thank you so much. This has been great. I'm out.
Awesome.
Because Ali came late, but it's okay.
Thank you.